Good morning and welcome to On the Beat. My name is Kim Mastrofino, and with me today is the Beat team, Martin Chan and Joe Hildreth. Let's check in with the Beat team like we usually do every Tuesday to see how they're doing. And I know that they have some updates for us, so I'm anxious to hear them. So let's start with Martin. Martin, how's it going today?
Hey, doing wonderful. Today's Tuesday, May 4th. Uh, it's quite raining today this morning, huh?
It is raining today.
Yeah,
It happens on occasion.
yeah. It's still spring, but the temperature is probably high 50s, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess we got to take the rain. I think it's supposed to be nice later on in the week. So,
Suppose so, yeah.
yeah. So, thank you for that. I think,
Thank you.
it's a good day to stay in and get things done, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of house cleaning today.
Maybe.
That's a maybe.
Right.
Or a good book, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. How's it going with you, Joe?
I'm doing good and great to be here.
Well, it's great to see you. And I have to ask, how's Annie the cat?
Good.
One of these days, we're going to get her on the broadcast. She doesn't have to say anything. She can just sit there and watch. It's great to see you. I know that you have some community updates for us, so you ready to share?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a reminder, Sunday Fun Day in downtown Westerly is from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. every Sunday. Also, check out the Chamber's website for more info on events around town. Also, Nesquamicut Drive-In is offering a great lineup of movies. This weekend they will be featuring The Goonies and The Never-Ending Story. Grab the popcorn and enjoy the show. Happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Yes, lots of things are opening up. Just want to remind people that also some of the area restaurants are opening up. And so, we're on to bigger and better days. So thank you for those updates. And we look forward to getting to the drive-in and eating popcorn and going down to Sunday Fun Day. So anyway, thank you. So now it's time to introduce our guest. She's a very special guest. I've known this person for quite a long time. Her name is Nan Young, and she is a photographer, a graphic designer, an actress, and tons more. But please welcome Nan Young. Hey.
Hey.
Thank you, Kim.
Welcome.
Thank you, Martin and Joe. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you on.
To say, it's May 4th, so may the 4th be with you.
That's very artistic. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Not original, but
That's good. That's good. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on, and I'm so happy that you decided to come on because we're anxious to hear everything that you're doing now. So just wanted to remind people that Martin and Joe are conducting the interview questions. And so we have some good questions for you, Nancy. So you ready to go?
Absolutely.
All right. So, Joe, I think you have the first question. So you can proceed whenever you're ready.
Hey, Nan. For those new to the broadcast, can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. Born and raised Westerly person. I have my mom moved here from New Jersey something like 60 years ago, and she finally, somewhere around 30 years of being here, she finally was considered a Westerly resident. I have 3 older sisters. I grew up in a very arts-rich environment. My parents were charter members of the Chorus of Westerly. I have 3 children. My baby just turned 30. I was like, oh. How did that happen? And I have 8 grandchildren and counting, and I feel extremely blessed.
Wow.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's great to know.
And 8 grandchildren. God bless you. That's awesome.
4 of whom I see regularly. The others are scattered around a little bit, and the pandemic has put a real cramp in my style, but It's all right.
Mm.
We're getting there.
Wow, wow. Well, your family is amazing, and I remember your family years ago when we used to go to your house. So I'll get into that later on for practice. So, but we'll just talk about that later. But Martin, I think you have the next question.
Yes. Hey, Nan. Can you describe your past experience as graphic designer?
Yes. That's one of those things that appeared very early when I was a little kid. When my parents used to have, we had a big house. My parents used to have play rehearsals for theater workshop when it was first starting. And we had two big rooms that were joined by French doors. So there was space for audience to sit and, and space for the stage to be, so to speak. And when I was 6 years old, I sat on one of the actors' laps and started making posters of the play that was going on, which happened to be Born Yesterday with Nikki Bruno, and Bucky Walsh, and a bunch of other theater workshop notables. And the first actual job I had was actually the program cover for Prisoner of Second Avenue when I was in high school for theater workshop.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of work for the chorus. I worked as a graphic designer at the Westerly Sun for quite a while and won an award while I was there. So I love it. It comes naturally to me. I do well with things that are spatial, fitting things in spaces.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
And Nancy, you used to work at Printing Plus as well. Didn't you start there too before the Sun?
I did, and actually Sir Speedy Printing at 26 High Street downtown was my first actual job in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I also worked at Mystic Color Labs for a while before I started having babies. And yes, Printing Plus, I worked there part-time for quite a few years when my kids were little. So
nice.
Lots of really good experience in all places.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Wow. That's great.
Sorry, Martin, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to jump back for a few minutes. When Theater Workshop, your father was one of the co-founders of Theater Workshop, correct?
Yes. He and Bucky Walsh and Vinnie Silvestri.
Yes, yes. So just for the audience sake, I was involved in that in Theater Workshop. I was a member way back in the day. And I remember coming to your house for those rehearsals and always was impressed. The house was beautiful and used to have so much fun. And it was such a great group. And we put on some really good theater for the community. And
we did. And we had some pretty good cast parties too.
I remember the cast parties, and I always would I'd always bring a certain dessert because I could never quite master the brownies. So they're like, it's ambrosia salad was every time I'd go there.
I'm sure it didn't go to waste.
It didn't. And everyone would be like, aren't you going to bring your salad? And, so I'm like, yes. So anyway, but I remember those days and how awesome the group was. And our old building is now the Granite Theater, if you remember. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, awesome times, times that happened. It was great. But anyway, all right, let's move on. Joe, you have the next question.
Yes. Can you tell us your background in theater and performing, past and present?
Sure. Again, I started early. My theater debut was when I was in kindergarten. And I was the narrator for the kindergarten play. It was The Little Red Hen. And that was I was on it, man. I had the part learned and I knew what I was supposed to do. And I don't know when the next time I appeared on stage was, but it was always something that I really, really enjoyed. I did win a Eugene O'Neill Award for Best Actress back in the day. I was Emily in Our Town, Arthur Pignataro directed. And I've been in some really cool stuff. I was Meryl Streep's body double in Hope Springs for one scene where I'm completely invisible, but I was in that movie. And I continue to work, and my current company that I'm attached to sort of is Stage Door Theater, and Eugene Selico does a lot of original work, which I absolutely love. He's wonderful to work with, and all of the people that I've met through that. So we worked. Did we do something? We did a an Edward Albee live reading in the park last summer. And the summer before that, we did a play about nuns at the DMV, which was quite funny. And I'm dying to get on stage again. It's one of my loves.
Aw.
You're keeping busy.
I do keep busy.
Well, and you're an amazing actress, but you've also been, you've done singing performances as well, correct?
Correct. I've been singing with the chorus since I was 8 years old, and before that, unofficially, because I always got dragged to rehearsals because my whole family was there, so I was in the back coloring or whatever. In fact, Jane Gencarelli, who just recently passed, played Fiona in Brigadoon many moons ago, and I was a tiny little kid in the back on the floor of the auditorium with my coloring book. But she was absolutely my idol. She was Fiona, and oh my gosh! So again, going to rehearsals because my whole family was there singing. And I've been a member of the chorus mostly off and on. I took some years off when I was having babies, and I took some years off for college. And I'm, as luck would have it, the second conductor of the chorus is my son-in-law. And so I'm back singing again. And I love it. He's a tremendously talented person. You guys interviewed him. Actually,
Yes.
I think that's the one I watched, Andrew Howell. And he's just fabulous. Taking the chorus and making it his own, building on what George Kent built, which was incredible. I mean, where would we all have been without George Kent in our lives? But Andrew successfully has taken it and truly shapes it, makes it his own, and he and Ryan, the executive director, work very well together. I'm so lucky that that's in my life, big part of my life.
Just to reflect back on Andrew Howell, his interview was fantastic. We enjoyed his visit. He is a great guy, and he does amazing work. And we're so lucky to have all we have in our community. And so, yeah, he's amazing, and does his job well. Nice guy. Really enjoyed his visit. So, but just before we move on to the next question, I know that you were involved in the Westerly Regional Arts Partnership. Is that still happening, Nancy?
I believe it still exists as an entity. And I will say candidly, I was very dedicated to that association's mission. I did discover that I'm not an administrator. I'm an artist, and I do all kinds of artistic things. But the business side of it is not my forte, which was a sad and tough realization in many ways. But
Sure.
so I'm not exactly sure where they stand right now, but I'm pretty sure they still exist as an entity.
Okay. Can you tell us more about your role in the Colonial Theater? I know that you've done some of things in the park, but you do other things for them as well, or have you put that on hold, or where is that?
I was actually I was Colonial Theaters, as in Harlan Meltzer's. I was company manager for one summer, which was great, but then it ended at the end of the summer, and then the Granite, when the Granite came in, that was run by other people. I did do one show at the Granite, which I had a lot of fun with, and it was the first time I ever did a long run show, more than one or two, maybe 2 weekends, and I absolutely loved it. It was once you get everything under your belt, lines wise and blocking wise, it's really, really fun and I had great actors to work with. It's really, really fun to play with it because live performances are different every single time. And it's again, it's one of my loves. It's exciting. You never know what's going to happen, and hopefully everybody remembers their lines. But you end up learning the whole show. So if somebody gets stuck, you can almost always feed them something that will help them remember their line. And it works both ways. It's really it's nice to work with actors who have your back.
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. And one more question before we move on. The other thing that you were involved in was the Gateway Communications public TV show. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That was so fun. That was in the context of the referendum, the first ever education referendum ever to pass in Westerly, Rhode Island. And I was part of a committee of probably 30 people total, and we subdivided into smaller factions. But I was part of the PR committee, and I did the database. Even though my brain doesn't work that way, I could handle that. And I designed all of the ads and worked with some really, really great people. Again, things like that don't happen by themselves. It was truly a community effort. And I ended up conceiving and hosting one of the segments of the film that got made about it. And of course, my segment was about the chorus and the arts in Westerly in general. Just a really something that I had not ever done before, and it was like a live interview, even though there were a lot of outtakes. So it was a lot of fun being a part of that. And his name escapes me, but the person who they brought in from the Midwest to be in charge of it was really, really wonderful. And Margie Long worked as the producer, I recall, and she took care of everything that was needed. That this gentleman that they brought in, just a really, really wonderful community effort. And the bonus was that after all the work that everybody on so many committees did, the voters approved the money, which was really crucial because at that point in time, there were major infrastructure issues. It built Springbrook School. That was one of the big pieces of it. It made all of the schools relatively technology ready in terms of internet and things like that. So it was a great, great project. And I learned a lot about myself and the things that I could do that I didn't know I could do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, I think, Martin, you have the next question. And I know that you've already talked a little bit about what Martin's going to ask you, but Martin's going to ask you anyway.
Yeah. What is your role in the chorus of Westerly?
These days, we don't, well, the kids are back with live rehearsals. I am a singer, but the adults have not been gathering to sing because we're not allowed to. The kids, there are few enough kids, and they're split up into a bunch of different groups. So they have actually been rehearsing in the hall again, which is a very, very, it's so good to be back in the hall. I'm not there yet, but it's so good to know that music is happening again in the hall. I sing. I have now 3 grandchildren that are singing, and they're not the first, but they're among the first 4th generation singers in the chorus of Westerly, which just kind of blows my mind. My parents sang, I sang, 2 of my 3 children sang, and now I've got 3 grandchildren who also happen to be children of the conductor. So they don't really have much choice in the matter, but they love it.
Wow, that's very fascinating.
I haven't been doing their graphic design for a long time. Ryan took that over when he took over as executive director. And they don't do as much printed stuff anymore. They don't do annual fund drive flyers. They do everything has turned electronic. So, and I do a small amount of web design for my own clients, but my expertise is not. I have not kept up with the technology. So, the chorus is doing very well without me on that regard.
That's really fascinating.
So I have to ask before Joe asks you the next question, are you a soprano in the chorus? You are.
I am. I still can. I can't reach the really, really high notes that I used to reach with ease, but I still can sing the high notes. So Andrew keeps letting me stay a soprano one, so I'll take it.
That's awesome. And are you singing? I know that the concert in the park is in July this year. Are you going to be part of that?
We will be. I think it's actually Labor Day weekend. I'm not positive, but I think it's.
Oh, maybe it is.
I think it's scheduled for Labor Day,
okay.
And it's still really. We're hoping that we can have it, but it's still really not 100% a done deal as far as I understand. There's too much can happen between now and the end of August.
Sure.
To be able to say for sure, but they're really, really hoping, and I will. So true confessions, I will be singing that concert. Summer Pops is my most difficult concert to sing because I really, really love being out in the park for those concerts. The years that I took off when my children were little, and I could just sit on the blanket and have a picnic and have kids on my lap and take in the music. And it's my favorite thing that happens in Westerly all year long. So singing it is part of the gig right now. But I always pray for laryngitis.
Oh, well, Ben thought it was 9/11. He wrote in, so where he thought that would be. So he might be right. So
he's probably right. He is in contact with them probably more on that regard than I am. I walk a very fine line between singer and mother-in-law, and I try not to mix those things. I try really hard to behave myself.
I have to say, when I'm sitting there at the Pops concert, like the ending is always so like wonderful with the 1812 overture and the fireworks. It's spectacular. But I often, when I'm sitting there, watching the concert through the whole thing and wondering what is it like to sit on stage, especially during that moment, and to be part of that like spectacular piece. It's just I can't even imagine how wonderful that must be.
It's really cool. The hardest part is that we're reminded again and again and again that we are not allowed to look at the fireworks until we're done singing.
Oh.
And we sing right up to the end of that piece. And it's important to watch the conductor. So but that's the hard part. But then once that's over, we can all sing the national anthem without looking at our music or anything else, so we can turn around and take in what's happening. It's a lot of fun.
So it's definitely, and it's spectacular. Amazing job, honestly. We are so lucky to have that. So anyway, I think, Joe, you have the next question?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you tell us how you became interested in photography? Can you tell us more about your style and what you photograph?
Sure. My dad, once again, when I was a little kid, my dad always had a camera, and I had a Brownie camera, and that was back in the day when you had film and you paid for. It was thank goodness for digital. You can take all kinds of images. But anyway, so my dad ended up putting a darkroom in our basement at Beach Street where we lived, and I learned how to develop film and print photographs. We ultimately ended up doing silk screening, photo silk screening, which again utilized the darkroom for part of its process. Always had a camera going. When the chorus went on its first tour in 1981, I actually bought my first 35 millimeter camera and brought that. Fast forward to when I went back to school, back to URI, the summer after I think it was the summer after I got married. And I took some black and white photography classes at URI with a really, really amazing professor. And URI's black and white darkroom was fabulous. It had 6 huge enlargers and room for easily for 6 or 10 people to work in there at the same time. We live in a beautiful area, so I have a lot of scenic pictures, and I of course took a lot of pictures of my children when they were growing up and continue to do so. My current style, which is largely abstract, started one morning about 10 years ago, and I had insomnia and I was mad, and I got up and it was summer, and I said, fine, I'll just go out and take some pictures. And ended up treating myself to breakfast after I'd driven around and done a bunch of things. And I went to what's now Mia's. It was prime time at that moment. And I had a nice breakfast, and I thought, well, okay, I couldn't sleep past 4 o'clock in the morning, but I did some good stuff, and I deserve breakfast. Finished, looked down at I got up to leave, and I looked down at my ice water, which was in a blue plastic tumbler, and I had drank most of it, so mostly what was visible was ice. And it was on the table with the light from the window. I was sitting on the side where the river is. The light from the window was shining through the blue plastic glass cup. And I looked down and I said, oh my God, look at that. That's beautiful. And the contours of the ice and the light coming through and the blue, and it mesmerized me. And I had brought my camera in. I took 2 shots, and that's literally what kicked off my sort of obsession with seeing things that you might not notice, I guess is a good way to put it. Similar story, I won't go into it, but started my series that I call Jello Shots, because it's actually pictures of Jello. And there were some on that link that I sent you, Kim,
Yes.
of both of those things.
Amazing,
but
amazing
the
pictures.
things that you just might not look at, like, oh, it's Jello. And then you look at it again, and you look at the way the light is happening and the way the contours have happened because of the way the spoon went in. So that's my current obsession, is abstracts. The beach is great for those. The sand the waves make beautiful patterns on the sand, because the different colors of sand have different weights. So the black sand ends up making beautiful designs on the beach. My son calls me a hippie. So
Well,
I think that.
Yeah, that pretty much sums that. I actually looked at your photos and you can access on nanpics.com, correct?
Yes.
And beautiful, beautiful pictures. And Ben's gonna pull some up for us. Amazing
That's
work,
Jello.
Nancy. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Thank you.
Yeah, the simplest things can be the most beautiful,
Somebody's pool.
That's awesome. And what's that, Nance?
That's condensation on plastic wrap from my fridge.
Wow.
That was the view of Piccadilly Station. No,
Okay.
Paddington Station. Paddington Station.
Beautiful.
Sand
That's
painting.
good.
That's the self-scan aisle at Stop and Shop.
I like that.
Also the self-scan aisle.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Blue bowl in my house.
Now that almost looked like a fan to me, but isn't that amazing what it comes out? That's beautiful.
Ben, thank you.
Yeah.
These are a lovely cross section. That's that
Yeah,
blue bowl.
beautiful.
I keep going back to it.
Amazing work, Nancy. You're so
Thank you.
talented. So we have one more question for you, Martin.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What else would you like others to know? What else?
This is that part that I referenced in the beginning, and I'll try to say this without crying. I just, again, the older I get, the more crucial it is. One of the things that we did in our Zoom meeting last night for the course, because we do meet weekly, we listened to part of a piece called "Considering Matthew Shepard," and Matthew Shepard was the young man who was beaten and left on a fence to die in Wyoming some years ago, and because of his sexual orientation. And it sounds naive maybe, but I just wish that we could all remember that we're all human. We all deserve respect and kindness, and whatever you think about someone's lifestyle, if you think they should burn in hell, then that's fine, but it's not your job to take care of that. Your job is to love each other. That was the directive that came down, and it comes down in across religions. We're people. We're all people, and we all deserve respect and consideration and kindness and compassion. And you don't ever know what's going on in somebody else's life. Mm-hmm. So take care of each other. That's really it.
Yep, that's it.
Well, it was well said, Nancy. I think I got feedback on that.
Pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well,
the
Nancy,
hippies had it right. Peace and love.
Exactly. It's been a pleasure to visit with you. I'm so happy that you came on to share your story, and we wish you much happiness and luck in now and in the coming months. So thank you, and good luck with everything.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Kim and Martin and Joe and Ben in the background someplace.
Yes. Yes.
I appreciate it. I really do. It was a pleasure to be here.
It was certainly a pleasure, and I'll always remember your family's an amazing family, and we have a lot of good memories. So, but thank you, Martin and Joe. You've been great hosts. Thank you again, Ben, Barbara, for producing. Thank you to our audience, for all who listened in. If you happen to have missed it, don't worry, you can catch it later on our social media pages. Please keep an eye on Facebook for the next broadcast. Our guest next week is Lena O'Leary from Stand Up for Animals. So we look forward to visiting with her. And in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe and healthy. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the amazing mothers out there.
Well, that's
Thanks,
it for
everybody.
now. Well, that's it for now. We'll see you next time on The Beat.
Bye.